The Young and the Restless preview video for the week of January 20 to 24 reveals that Sally Spectra will be apologetic when she interrupts Billy Abbott's chat with his brother, but Jack Abbott will insist they're just finishing up. That'll be good news for Sally since she'll have a surprise she wants to unveil. This could be related to Sally's upcoming Paris trip with Billy, so stay tuned for more details on their getaway together. Next, let's talk about Ian Ward's latest round of manipulation. Ian will corner Tessa Porter and act like he hates himself for trying to destroy every last ounce of goodness in Mariah Copeland. "I have to do this, Tessa, and you have to help me," Ian declares in Y and R's weekly preview video. Although Ian will act determined to find redemption, let's hope Tessa listens to Mariah when it comes to how dangerous he is. Of course, it's possible Tessa will turn the tables at some point and manipulate Ian right back. Over with Chance Chancellor, he'll snoop in Ian's motel room and discover a clue. Chance will find a lipstick-stained glass and joke that it's not Ian's shade, so he'll suspect Ian's accomplice might be a woman. Nick Newman will be with Chance during his motel search, so he'll get updates on this lipstick-stained glass as well. We'll continue to hear Nick make predictions about locating Sharon and saving her from her latest nightmare. At the Newman Ranch, Nikki Newman will agree with Claire Newman about Jordan being a threat to everyone they love as long as she's still breathing. That's why we need to figure out our next step, where we take her so that we can end this, Claire says in Y and R's preview clip. Nikki will have an idea, so she'll tell Claire and Victoria Newman to get their coats. It sounds like Nikki will settle on the perfect place to lure Jordan and kill her, but there could be a snag in her plan. Victor Newman will appear around the corner looking suspicious after eavesdropping. Even if Victor doesn't overhear everything, he'll apparently gather enough info to realize trouble's brewing. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor may get tangled in Claire, Victoria, and Nikki's scheme to take Jordan out permanently, so stay tuned. We'll have other exciting Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, updates, and news, so make us your one-stop source. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Billy Abbott's burning hatred for the Newman family reaches a breaking point. His grudge, rooted in years of betrayal and humiliation, has morphed into a dangerous quest for vengeance. Victor's power plays, Victor Newman's relentless business tactics, including the hostile takeover of Chancellor Industries, deeply wounded Billy's pride and the Abbott legacy. Adam's betrayals. Adam Newman symbolizes everything Billy despises, from his indirect role in the tragic death of Billy's daughter, Delia, to his manipulative schemes. Nikki's complicity. Nikki's loyalty to Victor and passive approval of his actions make her complicit in Billy's eyes. Phyllis joins the plot. Phyllis Summers, drawn to chaos, discovers Billy's plans and aligns herself with him. Their shared disdain for the Newmans fuels their alliance. While Phyllis warns Billy about the dangers of revenge, her sly smile betrays her excitement. Together, they begin to dismantle the Newman empire, focusing on their businesses. Jordan's threat looms. Meanwhile, Victoria discovers that Jordan, the elusive and dangerous woman who kidnapped Sharon, is still in Genoa City. Fearing for her daughter Claire, who was reluctantly involved with Jordan in the past, Victoria confronts her. Claire tearfully confesses her involvement, leaving Victoria determined to eliminate Jordan as a threat. Jordan alone and desperate. Jordan's situation worsens as her former ally, Ian Ward, cuts ties with her, labeling her a liability. Abandoned and cornered, Jordan becomes more desperate and unpredictable, making her a ticking time bomb. A game of survival. Genoa City turns into a powder keg. Billy and Phyllis. Their calculated attacks threaten to destabilize Newman Enterprises, but their personal agendas could undermine their alliance. Victoria and Claire. Victoria's protective instincts drive her to confront Jordan directly, risking her safety. Jordan, alone and desperate, Jordan's next move could be her most dangerous. Victor discovers the truth. Unwilling to let the situation spiral, Nikki and Victoria inform Victor about Jordan's escape and Sharon's kidnapping. Though Victor is angered by the delay in informing him, he quickly formulates a plan. Victor's strengths. Known for his resilience and strategic mind, Victor is determined to outmaneuver Jordan despite her unpredictability. The Newman women's warnings. Nikki and Victoria caution Victor about Jordan's psychological manipulation and cruelty. Sharon's struggle for freedom. Held captive in a grim, isolated location, Sharon fights to escape. Despite her dire circumstances, she clings to hope, using a rusted rod to work on her chains. Though progress is slow and painful, she refuses to give up. The next move. Claire's apology. Claire, grappling with guilt, finally approaches Victor, apologizing for withholding information. Victor reassures her, emphasizing the importance of family. Victor's plan. With the Newman family united, Victor prepares for a high-stakes confrontation with Jordan. A glimmer of hope. Sharon notices a crack forming in the lock on her chains. Fueled by determination, she redoubles her efforts, vowing to escape. As the Newman family rallies to save her, the battle against Jordan intensifies, setting the stage for a dramatic showdown. The upcoming twists in The Young and the Restless delve into an intense storyline surrounding Sharon Newman, whose fate becomes increasingly dire in a web of deceit, danger, and heartbreak. Before Sharon's tragic death, the show intensifies the drama with escalating threats, unrelenting antagonists, and a mystery that gripped Genoa City. The key antagonist in this storyline is Cameron Kirsten, a figure as menacing as he is calculating. His vendetta against Sharon isn't just business, it's deeply personal, driving him to orchestrate a series of chilling attacks. Cameron's manipulative nature and precise tactics have solidified his position as one of Genoa City's most formidable threats. For Sharon, this means living in constant fear, as Cameron's ultimate goal becomes clear: her total destruction. The first major escalation occurs when Sharon's coffee shop is targeted. A sudden explosion leaves the establishment in ruins and injures several patrons, including Sharon. While no immediate evidence ties Cameron to the attack, his reputation and proximity to the event lead many to suspect his involvement. The aftermath of the explosion leaves Sharon emotionally and physically shaken, further isolating her from her loved ones. As Sharon recovers, Cameron raises the stakes. Using his resources, he manipulates Sharon's financial records, framing her for embezzlement. This calculated move not only tarnishes Sharon's reputation, but also creates divisions among her allies. Nick Newman, torn between loyalty and doubt, struggles to support Sharon as evidence against her mounts. Meanwhile, Sharon's children, Faith and Mariah, rally behind their mother, vowing to uncover the truth. The tension reaches a boiling point when Sharon narrowly escapes an attempted poisoning at her own home. A mysterious package, delivered under the guise of a gift, contains tainted wine laced with a deadly toxin. Sharon's survival is credited to a last-minute intervention by Chance Chancellor, who arrives with a warning about Cameron's escalating plans. Chance's suspicions about Cameron's role in these attacks grow, but solid proof remains elusive. Meanwhile, Cameron's methods become even more insidious. Reports suggest he plans to mix industrial toxins with a rare venom, creating a virtually undetectable poison. His intent is to target Sharon during a public event, ensuring maximum impact while evading detection. The absence of Dr. Nate Hastings, Genoa City's foremost medical expert, further complicates efforts to counteract this potential threat. Without his expertise, the team struggles to prepare an antidote, leaving Sharon vulnerable to Cameron's next move. Sharon's resilience in the face of adversity serves as a testament to her strength. Despite the physical and emotional toll, she refuses to bow to Cameron's threats. Her determination inspires those around her, uniting her loved ones in a shared mission to protect her and bring Cameron to justice. However, the strain takes a toll on her relationships. Nick's guilt over his inability to shield Sharon and Faith's growing fear for her mother's safety create fractures in the Newman family. The final moments before Sharon's death are marked by an ominous sense of foreboding. As she attends a charity gala, determined to reclaim her life, Cameron executes his final plan. A sudden blackout plunges the venue into chaos, and amidst the confusion, Sharon is found unresponsive. The toxin Cameron developed proves devastatingly effective, leaving little chance for intervention. Sharon's death sends shockwaves through Genoa City, leaving her family and friends grappling with grief and anger. The aftermath of Sharon's tragic end sets the stage for a gripping exploration of justice and revenge. Nick vows to take down Cameron at any cost, while Faith channels her grief into advocacy, determined to honor her mother's legacy. For Genoa City, Sharon's death represents not just a loss but a turning point, as her story leaves an indelible mark on the lives of those she touched. For the Friday, January 17 episode of The Young and the Restless, spoilers photos show Sharon struggling to free herself while Claire stews over Jordan lurking around. Scenes from Genoa City. The heat is on at the Newman Ranch as Nikki, Victoria, and Claire discuss how to handle this Jordan mess. The villain is out of jail and running the streets, which is terribly dangerous. The trio knows how evil Jordan is and how low she can go. They need to play all their cards the exact right way. Things are just as tense over at Sharon's cottage. Nick and Mariah are worried sick about Sharon. As the hours pass, they begin to panic more and more. There's no way she would simply go missing without a trace. Something is off, but they have no idea how to make it right. As for Sharon, she's still chained up in the sewer, suffering and scared. She's trying everything she can to break free and destroy the chains that have her tied up. Will she succeed? Can she manage to free herself before it's too late? The long, harrowing ordeal of Sharon finally came to an intense and emotional conclusion on The Young and the Restless. Fans had followed her every agonizing moment, from her kidnapping to her desperate cries for freedom. But as her rescue seemed further out of reach, a glimmer of hope emerged. Nick, relentless in his search for Sharon, had refused to believe she was truly lost forever. For weeks, he had tracked down every lead, but it was a barely legible note hidden in one of Jordan's accomplice's belongings that brought him closer than ever to finding her. This clue led him to an abandoned, dilapidated building on the outskirts of town, a grim reminder of Sharon's suffering. Nick's determination drove him to the building, where the walls echoed with his desperate calls. He navigated the desolate hallways, searching for any sign of Sharon, until a faint cry cut through the silence. It was her, Sharon's voice, distant yet unmistakable. His heart raced as he followed the sound to a thick iron door, bolted shut, separating him from her. Despite the overwhelming fear and frustration, Nick refused to give up. He pounded on the door, shouting her name, telling her he would get her out. Sharon, terrified and vulnerable, responded with pleas for help. Fueled by his love for her, Nick tried everything to break through. His hands shook as he searched for a way to unlock the door, but it was reinforced, built to withstand even the strongest of efforts. In his desperation, Nick threw his body against the door again and again, ignoring the pain in his shoulder. Just as his resolve seemed to waver, the sound of footsteps behind him signaled the arrival of his enemy, Jordan. Jordan emerged from the shadows, a cruel grin spreading across her face. In her hand, she held a gleaming knife. With a taunt, she lunged at Nick, driving the blade into his side. Pain exploded through Nick's body, but his determination did not waver. With a strength that surprised even him, Nick wrestled the knife from Jordan and struck back, knocking her to the ground. While Jordan lay incapacitated, Nick turned back to the iron door. He found a metal rod nearby, using it to pry open the lock. After what felt like an eternity, the door finally creaked open, revealing Sharon, who stumbled into his arms. Her pale face was streaked with tears, and she cried out in relief, believing that she had been rescued at last. But the moment of joy was short-lived as Nick staggered from his injuries, clutching his side. Sharon's panic grew when she saw the blood soaking through Nick's shirt. As the paramedics arrived and rushed him to the hospital, Sharon refused to leave his side, holding his hand as if her very touch could keep him alive. She whispered words of comfort, vowing that he would make it through. At the hospital, Nick underwent surgery to repair the damage from Jordan's attack. It was a long road to recovery, but Sharon was by his side every step of the way. As for Jordan, she faced the consequences of her reign of terror, now held accountable for her crimes. But her capture was bittersweet. Though she was gone, her actions left lasting scars on those she hurt, particularly Sharon and Nick. Jordan, however, wasn't finished. In a shocking twist, while the police secured the warehouse, they discovered that Jordan had managed to escape. Hidden in the chains that had once bound her was a tool she had smuggled in to unlock her restraints. By the time the authorities arrived, she was gone, slipping into the shadows to continue her dark pursuit. For Sharon and Nick, the immediate danger seemed to have passed, but the shadow of Jordan's escape loomed large. Sharon couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Jordan's wrath would return, stronger and more dangerous than ever. As she sat by Nick's hospital bed, holding his hand, Sharon whispered that they would be ready. The battle was far from over. This was just the beginning of a new chapter of fear, hope, and the relentless pursuit of justice. As the story unfolded, fans were left on edge, knowing that Jordan's escape meant the nightmare was far from finished, and that Sharon and Nick's fight for peace was only just beginning. Explosive drama is about to shake the young and the restless, and this time, the stakes are higher than ever. Claire's betrayal is no longer just an emotional wound. It has become a full-blown life-threatening situation for Victoria Newman. Could this be the moment that changes the Newman family forever? Buckle up, because what's coming next will leave fans stunned. Claire's true colors exposed, a betrayal like no other. Victoria trusted Claire in ways she had never trusted anyone before. After all, Claire had been making amends, proving herself to be a changed woman after her dark past. But was it all an elaborate act? Sources close to Y&R suggest that Claire's betrayal runs deeper than anyone imagined. Whether she's been working with a hidden enemy, playing a long con, or simply acting out of desperation, her actions have now turned deadly, and Victoria is the one who will pay the ultimate price. Could Claire's past ties to Jordan or another unseen force be pulling the strings? And if so, what exactly is she after? Revenge? Power? Or something even more sinister? Victoria in grave danger, will she survive? The shocking twist takes a dangerous turn when Victoria suddenly finds herself in a life-or-death situation. Whether it's a setup gone wrong, a shocking confrontation, or a calculated move by Claire, one thing is clear: Victoria's life is hanging by a thread. Newman Enterprises has always been a battlefield, but this time, it's not just corporate wars, it's a real fight for survival. Will Victoria see the betrayal coming in time to save herself? Or is she about to become Claire's biggest victim yet? Rumors suggest that Victoria may be left fighting for her life, sending shockwaves through Genoa City. If she doesn't pull through, the entire Newman family will be thrown into chaos. The fallout: will the Newmans seek revenge? If Claire is truly responsible for this life-threatening situation, she may have just made the biggest mistake of her life. Because if there's one thing the Newmans do best, it's protect their own and seek revenge when necessary. Expect Nick, Nikki, and Victor to go into full-blown war mode as they demand justice. If Claire was playing a game, she's about to face the wrath of the most powerful family in Genoa City. But here's the big question. Is Claire truly the mastermind behind this betrayal? Or is there another puppet master pulling the strings? If so, who is the real threat? What happens next? Brace yourselves, because this young and the restless storyline is about to take a shocking turn. Will Victoria survive Claire's betrayal? Will the truth come out before it's too late? Or are we about to witness one of the most devastating twists in Newman family history? The return of Tara to Genoa City has shocked fans of The Young and the Restless, as her reappearance threatens to unravel the fragile stability Kyle and Harrison have tried to build. Harrison, a sensitive young boy, struggles with uncertainty about his future and the looming possibility of losing his mother or his father. His fears are compounded by Kyle's tumultuous love life, which has left emotional scars. As Kyle faces his own complicated relationships with Summer, Tara, and others, the question arises: who will Harrison ultimately call family? Tara's return could potentially destabilize the already volatile dynamics surrounding Harrison's life. Tara's return is not just a nostalgic twist, but a dramatic revelation. Her connection to Ian Ward, one of the most cunning figures in Genoa City, adds a new layer of intrigue. Fans were stunned when Tara called Ian Dad, revealing that Ian is her father. This revelation raises countless questions about Tara's past, her motives for returning, and how her relationship with Ian might influence her actions in Genoa City. The implications of Ian being her father set the stage for a power struggle, as his influence over Tara could have devastating consequences for Kyle, Harrison, and others caught in their web. As the dust settles, the complexity of Tara's return becomes clear. Her fight for custody of Harrison is not just a legal battle, but an emotional one. Tara's love for her son is undying, and her desire to regain custody is rooted in her need to redeem herself and make up for past mistakes. However, Harrison's life has significantly changed in her absence, and his attachment to Kyle and the Abbott family complicates matters. Tara's struggle will test the boundaries of forgiveness, with the specter of Ian's influence over her adding an unpredictable element to her fight for Harrison. Tara's journey is not only about regaining custody of her son, but also about proving her love and commitment. Her relationship with Ian will undoubtedly affect how others view her motives and fitness as a mother. As the battle for Harrison's future intensifies, the emotional stakes rise, particularly for the young boy caught in the middle. The adults must tread carefully, as using Harrison as a pawn could have lasting consequences. Tara's redemption arc is at the heart of this story, challenging the people of Genoa City to confront their own views on family, forgiveness, and the complexities of love and loyalty. The plot of The Young and the Restless takes a dramatic turn when a carefully planned trap to neutralize the dangerous Jordan spirals into chaos. Victoria, Nikki, and Claire find themselves facing an unexpected and violent confrontation with Jordan, who fights back fiercely in the face of capture. As the tension reaches its peak, Jordan pulls out a knife, and in a desperate act of love, Claire throws herself in front of Nikki to shield her. Claire is gravely wounded, collapsing as blood begins to pool around her. Despite the chaos, the police arrive and apprehend Jordan, but the focus quickly shifts to Claire's dire condition, with her family scrambling to save her life. At the hospital, the severity of Claire's injuries becomes clear, and doctors urgently seek to determine her blood type to provide a transfusion. However, the results reveal an earth-shattering truth. Claire's blood markers do not match either Victoria or Nikki, implying that Claire is not their biological daughter. The shock reverberates through the family as Victoria demands answers, and Nikki hesitantly reveals that she had arranged for a surrogate when Victoria couldn't carry the pregnancy to term. The revelation devastates Victoria, who feels betrayed, and her relationship with Nikki is left in tatters. The truth about Claire's parentage is out, and the fragile bonds within the family are tested to their breaking point. As Claire fights for her life, the guilt and pain of those around her intensify. Kyle arrives at the hospital, devastated by the sight of Claire unconscious and fighting for survival. His anger and heartbreak lead to a confrontation with Victoria, who he blames for Claire's involvement in the dangerous situation. His accusations hit Victoria hard, leaving her to question her choices and actions. Despite Nikki's attempts to reassure her, the weight of Claire's sacrifice and the consequences of their decisions hang heavily over the family. The tension between them only deepens as Victoria is forced to face the harsh reality of her role in putting Claire in harm's way. Meanwhile, Jordan, in a cold and isolated interrogation room, is left to process the devastating consequences of her actions. She regrets hurting Claire, but the damage is done, and she is left to grapple with her own guilt. As Claire's condition stabilizes, the mystery of her true parentage remains unresolved, with both Nikki and Victoria haunted by unanswered questions. The secrets that have been buried for so long now threaten to tear the family apart. As the storyline unfolds, the question of Claire's true identity looms large, and the repercussions of her hidden origins are sure to shake the family to its core. The young and the restless fans, brace yourselves. What's coming next will leave you on the edge of your seat. In a jaw-dropping twist, Tessa Porter has been kidnapped and gagged, and Ian Ward is somehow at the center of it all. But the big question remains, who's standing next to him? Is this a plan he's executing alone, or does he have a dark ally helping him carry out the most shocking crime Genoa City has seen in years? Let's dive into this twisted new storyline and break down all the explosive details that are set to rock your world. Tessa's shocking abduction, a family torn apart. Tessa Porter, the beloved singer and wife of Mariah Copeland, has always been a beacon of light in Genoa City, but now she's in a life-or-death struggle. Fans watched in horror as she was kidnapped and gagged, her fate uncertain and her loved ones completely in the dark. Maria and their friends are frantic, trying to piece together the mystery of Tessa's abduction. The question on everyone's mind is, why Tessa? Is there a deeper personal vendetta behind this? Or is this just the beginning of something much more sinister for Genoa City? With her life hanging by a thread, every minute counts and the race to save Tessa is on. Ian Ward's return, more dangerous than ever? After a long time away, Ian Ward is back, and he's as dangerous as ever. The infamous villain has left a trail of destruction in his wake, and now his return marks the beginning of a new nightmare for the residents of Genoa City. But this time, there's something darker at play. Is Ian the mastermind behind Tessa's abduction, or is he simply the face of a much bigger scheme? Sources close to Y and R suggest that Ian may be teaming up with a mysterious ally, someone from his past, who has a personal stake in this shocking plot. But who is this new player, and what are their goals? Unmasking the mystery ally, a hidden threat? The real mystery surrounding Tessa's abduction isn't just about Ian Ward, it's about the person standing next to him. Who is the person pulling the strings alongside Ian, and what is their connection to Tessa or the rest of the town? Is this ally someone we've seen before, or will their identity send shockwaves through Genoa City? Some fans are speculating that this could be someone close to Tessa, someone who has been hiding in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Could it be an old enemy, or is it someone much more unexpected? One thing is for sure, this mysterious figure will change everything. Maria and the search. Will she be too late? As Mariah copes with the horror of losing Tessa, she becomes more determined than ever to find her and bring her home safely. But with Ian Ward at the helm of this sinister plot, can Mariah truly count on the people around her? Or will she have to take matters into her own hands to save her wife from the clutches of evil? The emotional roller coaster for Mariah is only beginning, and fans can expect some gut-wrenching scenes as she races against time. Will she make it in time to save Tessa, or will they both be swept away in a storm of violence and danger? What happens next? The countdown to danger. Monday's episode promises to deliver a heart-pounding, edge-of-your-seat thriller as Tessa's fate hangs in the balance. With Ian Ward back and a hidden enemy lurking in the shadows, Genoa City may never be the same again. Will Tessa survive this ordeal? Who is Ian Ward's ally? And what will Maria do to save the love of her life? Tune in for the shocking twists and turns that will have you reaching for the edge of your seat. This is one storyline you won't want to miss. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the show's been offering some interesting clues as we build to what could be Nikki Newman's final face-off with Jordan. Back when Nikki went on that Jordan tirade at her AA meeting, she made it clear that only Jordan's demise would satisfy her. That theme will continue on the March 18 episode when Nikki reiterates that prison is too good for Jordan. Claire Grace also wished Jordan dead before backtracking later and seeming a bit concerned about Victor Newman's plan. That led to Victoria Newman's reassurance that Victor wasn't cruel enough to leave Jordan locked up indefinitely. Nikki knows that too, so she'll get confirmation on Victor's intention of delivering Jordan's to the authorities. However, there are signs that Jordan may not make it into police custody after Nikki's plan for one last confrontation brings a twist. Our spoilers say Victoria and Claire will also be there for this final Jordan showdown. So it'll be a situation where an already stressed woman is ambushed and agitated even further. Under the circumstances, it wouldn't be that surprising if Jordan had a heart attack and keeled over right in front of Nikki, Claire, and Victoria. That could bring a new dilemma of whether they should take Jordan to the hospital. Then again, it's possible Jordan will end up deceased rather quickly, so Nikki, Victoria, and Claire may realize there's no hope. That might bring a brand new problem, since the Newmans would have a body in captivity. It could force Victor to work his magic and have his people dispose of Jordan somehow. Victor staged a car accident when Nick Newman decked Ashland Lock and led to his fatal fall. Maybe Victor will launch a new Jordan cover-up and give Claire a crash course on how things work in this family. Naturally, it's also possible Jordan will flee and perhaps get taken down by Victor's security guard or even a nearby cop. Whatever the case, it's going to be disappointing if all those grim dialogue predictions don't add up to Jordan's lethal exit. Bottom line, Nikki's ill-advised confrontation will lead to stunning news and result in Victor making some updates to his plans. The Young and the Restless spoilers say there'll be at least one more round of Jordan turmoil during the week of March 18 to 22, so stay tuned. Where you want to be for terrific Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, updates, and news, so make us your go-to why and our source. The warehouse was a storm of chaos, fear, and raw emotion. The carefully crafted trap designed to corner Jordan had unraveled into a nightmare of bloodshed and heartbreak. Nikki, Victoria, and Claire had underestimated their enemy's desperation. Jordan, cornered but feral, fought like a wild animal, her face twisted in fury as she stood across the dimly lit room. "You really thought you could outsmart me?" she snarled, her voice venomous. "You think I didn't see this coming?" Nikki stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "It's over, Jordan. There's nowhere left for you to run." Jordan let out a mocking laugh. "Run? Darling, I'm not the one who should be running." Before they could react, Jordan pulled a knife from her jacket and lunged. In the chaos, Claire moved instinctively, throwing herself in front of Nikki to shield her. The blade plunged into Claire's abdomen. A sacrifice of love. Time slowed. Claire gasped, shock and pain etching her face as blood pooled around her. "Claire!" Victoria screamed, rushing to her daughter's side. Tears streamed down her face as she cradled Claire's trembling body. "I'm fine, Mom," Claire whispered weakly, her lips twitching into a faint smile. "It's nothing." "It's not nothing," Victoria sobbed, pressing her hands against the wound in a futile attempt to stop the bleeding. The sound of sirens pierced the night. Paramedics arrived, lifting Claire onto a stretcher as Victoria clung to her hand. A race against time. At the hospital, the doctor's grave expression only deepened the tension. The knife caused significant damage, and she's lost a lot of blood. She'll need a transfusion immediately. Do you know her blood type? We've never had to, Nikki added, her voice trembling. A blood test was ordered, but when the results came back, the doctor's expression darkened. There's something unusual, he said, glancing at Victoria and Nikki. Her DNA markers don't match either of you as biological parents. The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Victoria's world tilted. That's impossible, she protested. She's my daughter. I gave birth to her. The doctor held up his hands. I understand this is hard to hear, but the results are conclusive. Nikki turned pale, her eyes flickering with a buried truth. The weight of secrets. As Claire lay unconscious in her hospital bed, Victoria sat beside her, clutching her hand. Tears streaked her face as she whispered, "How could this be?" Nikki stood by the window, her face unreadable. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "There's something I need to tell you." Victoria looked up, her tear-streaked face filled with confusion. "When you were pregnant with Claire, there were complications," Nikki admitted. "You couldn't carry the pregnancy to term. I didn't know how to tell you, so I made a decision. I arranged for a surrogate." Victoria stared at Nikki, the truth hitting her like a blow. "You lied to me. My entire life with Claire was a lie." "I was trying to protect you," Nikki said, her voice breaking. The turning point. Meanwhile, Kyle stormed into the hospital, his composure shattered. Seeing Claire pale and hooked up to machines left him broken. In the hallway, Kyle confronted Victoria. "Why her?" he shouted, his voice trembling with rage. "She's lying in there because of you. Why didn't you protect her?" Victoria, guilt-stricken, could only whisper, "You're right. This is my fault." Kyle shook his head, his fists clenched. "She's strong because she has to be. But if she doesn't make it," his voice broke, and he stormed off, leaving Victoria sobbing. The looming secret. The results of Claire's blood test revealed a rare blood type. The attending physician hesitated before sharing another bombshell. "Her DNA markers don't match yours, Mrs. Newman." Victoria turned to Nikki, her voice shaking. "What does he mean Claire isn't my daughter?" Nikki's silence spoke volumes, and Victoria's world crumbled further. Unanswered questions. As Claire fought for her life, those who loved her were left grappling with revelations that threatened to tear them apart. Secrets long buried began to surface. Jordan, sitting in her cell, replayed the moment she stabbed Claire. Regret washed over her, but it was too late, and as Victoria sat by Claire's bedside, one question lingered above all others: who is Claire?